What about originality in organ improvisation?
Good question. I think a lot of people start with copying covers in any medium, in visual arts, in poetry. If you write a poem, right, you read a lot of poems by other poets and you fall in love with them and you create something similar. So with improvisation is kind of the same. You try to copy the style of your favorite composers, and a lot of people try to imitate Bach, which is probably one of the last steps we should do because he is so advanced. It's better to imitate some of his students, right, or masters before Bach, if you want to imitate anyone at all. And I think this stage is good because it allows us to learn the basics of the compositional technique or improvisation. I don't feel there is much difference between improvisation and composition. Composition is just written down on paper or with the computer, and improvisation is the same composition but performed at the same time as it is being created.
But don't you think that written compositions are more elaborated and better in some ways?
It depends on how far have you advanced in expressing your ideas. If you can come up with new ideas fast enough, it will be advanced, right? Many people can play double fugues or triple cannons.
Really?
Yes, and it seems like a supernatural skill to people who are, for example, non-musicians at all, right? Or look, non-musicians even marvel that you're playing with pedals, right?
But I don't think non-musicians can appreciate very well double fugue. I think only musician can do it. Because if you don't know if it's double fugues, then how it matters?
Okay, maybe I went too far with this. Maybe other musicians, right?
Yes, I think
Who have never created before, right? But only played double fugues themselves, right? Let's say organists who played double fugues by Bach and heard some organist improvise double fugue, and it is possible, but it takes probably tens of thousands of hours of practice to do this. And I'm just wondering if there is a point of mastering that isolating technique. This is a technique, double fugue, right? Or canon or imitative technique. What matters is that you create something. For people who want to do this, this is the way to do this, right? And for others, they feel that it limits their expression, right? They don't want to imitate any other style that they know before. They want to probably express their own unique or not so unique, maybe musical ideas, right? Invent in the moment, whatever comes out. What do you think?
Very interesting, fascinating subject actually.
Why?
Because there can be so many ways, and so many ideas. How to come up about something like this. Do you think sometimes it would be good to just compose some compositions first?
Both ways. You can compose and improvise and vice versa. It feeds of each other, right? We have talked about it before, but I think, and it feeds on your performance as well. It's like a very good symbiosis, creativity and performance.
Don't you think that some improvisers could, just compose composition, write it down, and then to learn it by heart and to play and see that it's improvisation?
Yes, but why? Why would they do this if they could improvise a second composition maybe 5 minutes later?
Well, I'm talking about not so advanced improvisers.
Oh,
Just, beginners.
I know. We all been there, It's a beginning stage. We are afraid of making mistakes when we improvise, so we write down and memorize, or even not write down, but maybe repeat the same thing over and over until we memorize it. I did it myself, and you can listen it on YouTube, a few improvisations of my own from earlier times. And I'm not ashamed of putting them out there for people, because this is how probably other people might start. Not all of them, but some definitely, who love to imitate other styles. I loved imitating Bach and Krebs, for example, at that time. And now I do something different. This is just evolution, I think.
Evolution.
Yeah.
I like this word.
So, what did you do differently, Osha, 10 years before that you are doing something else? You surely also evolved.
Or I devolved, maybe. That's also a possibility.
Revolved.
Yeah.
Evolution or revolution?
Yes. I think my life moved me in a different direction a little bit. More in a music theory field.
This is good, though, for your intellectual mind.
Well, yes, I guess it is.
Before that, for example, before you were moved in the music theory world, were you able to analyze your pieces so well that you can do that today?
I was able to analyze, but probably not as deep as I can do now.
Because you're teaching others.
True. But basically, in these years of teaching music theory, I lost, ability to speak, basically, because, all I do basically is I'm trying to teach others using by as few words as possible. Because I realized if you tell, your students too many words, we will not remember those. And it is quite a hard, thing to do, to teach a new subject only in a few words.
Do you sometimes encourage your students to teach less advanced students?
Sure.
In their class?
I think that's a very good way to learn.
Their friends?
Yes. Then some people are just very natural about, teaching others. And sometimes we find, better ways and better words to explain things.
So you're a teacher, right? You have students to teach who are less advanced than you. Do you feel that you're a student yourself today, even though you have practiced for many, many decades?
Well, yes, in a way, because I still can find and recover new things.
And you can learn from either people who are more advanced of you or music which was composed before.
Especially from the music.
Or instruments.
Yes. Because when studying the compositions, you can see how well, those rules that you teach others apply to reality.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel that you have your colleagues who are on your own level?
Well, too bad that some of them are still, haven't left classroom, and we just stick very strictly to theory books.
Mm-hmm.
And don't try to look, beyond the horizon, to real examples of musical pieces.
But you got me.
I know.
So, if I can say, we are colleagues at this too, right?
True.
So you have students, you have teachers, and you have colleagues, right? Like friends.
Yes.
So people who are more advanced of you, who are equal to you, and less advanced of you, and all three levels are very important to probably any person.
True.
Right. So as a closing idea, would you encourage our listeners to go out and seek out those people around themselves?
Sure, of course. Because it's very important, to have somebody whom you can, teach or help. Help, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a nicer word probably. And then there is always good, to have somebody whom you can learn from too. So it goes both ways, I think.
And people who are equal to you.
True.
On the same level.
True. Your friends,
who can
colleagues.
basically you can support each other.
Yes, and you can support and you can share your ideas.
Thank you guys. This was Vidas.
And Ausra.
Please send us more of your questions. You see how far we can go from original question to the ending of this conversation. But we do hope it was useful to you and inspiring, at least in some way. And please write more of your feedback and experiences. We would love helping you grow and discuss that on the show. And remember, when you practice,
miracles happen.